Hey again, let me talk in this video about factions. So to get started, I will create a new file, Kotlin file, and name it factions. Okay. So if you remember, this was our main faction that our application was started from. So to define faction, you see we use the word fun, then we give it name for the faction, main, then we open a bracket, we give it the parameters, data type. So this parameter array of strings. This is was main faction that is would run automatically. But also we could define many factions as much as we want. So let me go up and define faction for some two numbers. So I will say fun, the name, what the name of the faction, sum, what this faction expect to have as an input, have two number. So number one, that the data type for it should be integer, whatever, or maybe you want it to be a double or float, whatever, double, and have number two. I expect number two should be also a double. So T, I add semicolon. Then also, what is the return value? I close the bracket. I expect the return value should be double. Then I open the bracket, I close it. This could have a block of code. So I could write as much as I want here. So think about I want to sum the two number. So I say variable sum equal number one plus number two. And then I say, hey, return for me the sum. And that is. So because I said return sum, what he will do, and anyone he call this method, he will get number one, number two. He do some operation, he return the value for the color. So if I call this one from here for some two number, so I said variable r equal, I call this faction, name it sum. I say sum, what I want to sum. See, he say, hey, I'm taking two parameter. I want to sum 10 and 12. Okay, let me print the r. So I say r equal the $sign r. Okay, but this is take a float, so it should be 10.0, 10.0 because the faction take a float as input. So this is r, not s. Let me just call this faction again down, and without doing var, because the variable already defined now, just using same variable and print it. And that's it for third time, and make sure using /n, so you have the result on different lines. And let me add a breakpoint and try to understand how factions work. So debug, and let's start step by step and see how he will run this faction. So make sure always from the faction what you have inputs, what you expect as output, and what the block of code. As I told you, this faction could have 1 line, 10 line, 1000 line, whatever lines of code you need to add inside it. You will see faction a lot in our coding. So yes, waiting seconds, run. Let me see what is going on here. So always see whenever I have data type faction also return, I have to return value. So, but we will see example he don't have any return value. So now he will go to the breakpoint here. I will not click this one because this one he will execute the faction directly. He go execute and bring the data. But I want to now, I click this one. I want to know what he will do here. So not this one, step. I say step into click. See, he called this faction. And because I sent 10 or 12, he will take 10, added the number 1. He will take 12, added number 2. See, number 1, 10, number 2, 12. He will do same process. He will return 22 for me, and he will add 22 in R. Then he will print 22. You will see it here. Same thing if you go to the next. Again, I have same. Again, I have 10 and 20, 10 and 12. If you just go, again, taking 10 and 12, sum them, return value. Print it, 22, same thing. So, does it make any sense to sum two number, 5 and 87, what this one, 1, 1, and 1, 2, and let's just rerun it. So one thing I want to make you make sure you understand it, the faction formatted this way. You say fun, name of the faction, input parameters, then what you value expect, then open a bracket, write all your code, then return the value. I did sum, I return the sum value. Then whenever I want to call, just give the name faction, give it parameters, and he will execute it for me, and he bring me the data. how he will bring the data for me. So yes, this is function sum. Going next, as you see, sum two numbers. Now print them. Now he have 5 and 82. Again, sum them, print them. See, now R3, 100 and 102, print them, return for me. So this is basically how to write function that expect to return value. What if I expect my function doesn't return any value? For example, function for display. I suppose this function getting number should be, I expected integer, whatever, but I don't I expect this function will not return any value. If I think my function doesn't return any value, I have to write unit. Okay, when I say unit, that means, hey, I expect this function will not return anything. I don't need to add word return in this function. For example, I just print the value of n. I say n, semicolon, $sign n, just printing. So now whenever I want to call this function, just let me call it from here. I say display 10. He will show me 10 on the screen. Because here, print. Let me suppose print line, so make it in different line. If I call it again, display 22. He will display 22 for me. But if you see, I don't expect any value returns. For that reason, I don't need to define var r whatever or var m or variables. I don't expect any value return from this function because this function just get called, then it get executed. So that is, so when you have a function, you expect this function will not return any value, you just write unit. That means this one don't have word return. I don't expect to return value to treat it here. If you expect to return value, write the value or the data type of the value that you expect to return. See, number 1 and number 2, you just call this function number 1, number 2. If you just want to be more professional, just run it or debug it step by step and see like how he will be able to execute the function step by step and show you the result. So you don't have to have always like input for the function. Maybe your function doesn't take any input, but let me wait and just run. See, call first function. Now he calls first function again. Call the first function. Now he come here, display. He will call display function. Display. See? So this is basically how we do it. Maybe you say, okay, let me by default give this one 0. That means if someone called this function here and he did not send any value, I will expect the value for this variable 0. So I will not enroll into errors. So default value is something we use it if we want to send function. Maybe I want to send the function value and maybe I don't want. So maybe he want to send 10. Maybe he will not. He don't want to send anything. So if he don't send anything, I will consider it the function will take like 0. See, he considers 0. Maybe also you don't have to have always your function have input. Maybe you have function like this one, display no input and just function without any input. You could do this. You say welcome to display. Okay, so also you could call this function just by calling this name because it doesn't have any input and I don't expect any output. Maybe doesn't have input but have output. That's totally normal. So yes, this is what I want to show you in this video about functions and how we could define them. So hopefully everything was clear for you. So if everything clear, let we see the result, what we will have from this function. So yes, here is it. See, we'll come to display. So here we done. Thank you for watching and see you next.